I now would like to recognize for his 5 minutes of questioning the gentleman from Alabama, Mr. Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Howell, your organization published findings from your analysis of cell phone data revealing potential illicit activities by NGOs, such as providing false residency documents or advising illegal immigrants to lie to law enforcement to evade ICE. After the release of your findings, did the Biden administration take any steps to address these concerns? How did they respond to your research and your implications?
So the Biden administration, through the Biden campaign, called me and my organization some variant of disinformation, of course, and then otherwise relied on their legacy media outlets to try to come after us and discredit us, which they ultimately failed and actually ended up supporting our findings.
Thank you. How do you think the administration's failure to act on this issue might have emboldened other NGOs or other groups engaged in questionable practices?
Well, they turned on the fire hydrant of billions of dollars of funding. They built an entire sophisticated apparatus and infrastructure. A lot of people gained a lot of power, influence, and money throughout this, and it resulted in the biggest invasion of the United States, the biggest mass movement of human beings I can think of in an organized fashion throughout our country and into everyone here's community, with drugs, crime, violence, all coming with it.
Mr. Howell, in your testimony, you alluded to examples of NGOs misusing taxpayer-funded grants or resources to facilitate fraudulent activities. Can you elaborate on how these funds were directly misused and what measures can be implemented to trace and prevent further misuse of public funds?
Right, so the behavior we see at the NGOs ranges across the gamut of questionable and even illegal activity, including advising illegal aliens on how to evade ICE. I believe it construes kind of harboring illegal aliens too. It potentially implicates the trafficking of them as well. There's all amounts of kind of criminal negligence I think we can find at these nonprofits. In addition, in New York, we found them giving false residency documents to illegal aliens. Who knows the impact that has in our voting systems?
Did you know of any NGOs that were helping people try to register to vote?
Yes, absolutely. By giving them false residency documents, with residency being one component of voting, that is a factor there. Also, south of the border in Mexico, we discovered flyers encouraging illegals to vote for Biden when they entered the country. Separate, the White House themselves, when they tried the federal takeover of elections via Executive Order 14019, they invited a lot of these nonprofits and their partner organizations to basically advise, we don't need to do anything to warn illegals not to vote whatsoever. They kept the system wide open because they were relying on those very votes. That's why they opened the border in the first place. They can't win with only American votes. They needed to import a new population dependent on government to fundamentally change the United States. That's what this is all about.
You're spot on. Switching gears, American First Legal has been dedicated to ensuring transparency and holding the government accountable. However, these efforts have faced significant obstacles, particularly from actions within the Biden administration aimed at hindering oversight work. Mr. Block, can you share some examples of how individuals within the Biden administration have attempted to obstruct America First legal efforts to hold the government accountable and promote transparency?
Yeah, so a couple that come to mind. I mean, from day one, the Department of Justice moved to disqualify one of our co-founders and general counsel, Gene Hamilton, from cases that he was qualified to work on and had every right to be on. And that was day one to all the way up through to just before the election. NARA was supposed to produce documents depicting Hunter Biden and Joe Biden meeting President Xi. Those were ultimately produced after the election. There were other productions that we were supposed to get before the election that came after the election as well. So, I mean, just from day one through the current day.
Thank you, Mr. Block. Mr. Chairman, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I walked in and I heard the word hyper-partisan. I'm telling you right now, I hate that I was committed to something else and I couldn't be here longer. I want to defend these folks. 2 of the 3 Republican folks that are testifying today have served with distinguished records for years for DHS, and they've been called hyper-partisan. What this committee wants is the facts. We want to know what worked. We want to know what didn't work. I thank you for your service, and I hope that that hyper-partisan statement doesn't affect anything you do in your future. Thank you for your service to our country.
Gentleman yields.